Afrobeat Intelligence Podcast.
Afrobeat Intelligence, democratizing African music.
Okay, this is our second time of meeting.
Yeah.
Yes. And I recall the first time I met you, you were the very foundation upon which this conversation is happening didn't exist.
Okay.
You were back in Nigeria. It was pre-pandemic, but you just had this thirst for what's happening down here. How have you been since then?
I came back. I went when we last met. I went back to start my tour
Yeah.
for the Lucid album, and then and so the tour was cancelled, and I came back to Nigeria, and came back to Nigeria. Literally, the world stopped, and so. Then this was when I really started to connect with people. I didn't have the chance to do it before because I was always here very short time.
Yeah.
But this time I was able to throw my door open and just meet creative people. That was where I met Prime.
Okay. So let's talk about connection.
Yeah.
When people talk about connection, in regards to your music, it's never been there's never been an Asha album that doesn't feel like there's home in it. There's Lagos, there's Nigeria in it.
Really?
Yes. Maybe the
Did you say never?
there's never been
An Asha album.
that hasn't had Nigeria in it.
Okay, that hasn't had Okay,
Yes.
I misunderstood.
People might say not enough.
Okay.
There might be conversations about it's very, very, very mixed with a lot of things.
Okay.
But there's never been like this. There's never been a project that Asha has released and you haven't heard it and said there's no Nigeria within it. It's just how you've interpreted Nigeria.
Yeah.
So coming back home, connecting, staying at home, feeling the air, seeing the sea.
Mm-hmm.
What's different about this one?
I think what's different is just that amount of time that I stayed in Lagos.
Okay.
I stayed 100% in Lagos and recorded the album 100% from home. So, unlike my other albums where I would write, perhaps 80% in Lagos, and wherever I find myself next, I will continue to write, and then work with foreign producers. Like I have worked on my albums from Beautiful Imperfection.
Yeah.
But this time around, 5 has 100% Prime on it. And I think there's just something about home, that just brings some. There's the touch of home in this production, because with Prime, if you follow some of my social media posts,
Yeah.
he stayed here. Sometimes it would come and go, and we were just recording as we got inspired, as he got inspired. And, with food and family, there was something relaxing, something just calming and warm about the process of recording 5.
Nice. Let's talk about Lagos.
Yeah.
Let's talk about home. Let's talk about connectivity. What does Lagos represent to you? I know you were born here. It's just a bit. I know you were born here.
I was born in Paris.
In Paris, sorry.
Yes.
But you spent like a bit of your formative years here.
Most of my formative
exactly.
years here.
And then you've done the work, you became who you became.
Yes.
Who you've become, rather.
Right, yes.
And now you're in Lagos. Let's talk about Lagos. What does it mean to you, Lagos?
Lagos is everything.
Okay.
I don't know. I can't imagine a time in my life where I would lose Lagos. Lagos from the beginning has been the center of my inspiration, of my stories that I, write about in my songs.
Yeah.
Lagos is home. Home is the core. And so wherever I go, if I'm not in Lagos, I take Lagos with me. When I'm on tour, yes, I tour with a French band, but there's my manager who's Nigerian, so that's a part of home that's with me. And we've been touring like that for the past 17 years.
Whoa.
Yeah. So home, I would say home is always with me. So Lagos is everything, Without Lagos, which in this context is home, I will be lost.
17 years on the road.
Yep.
17.
Perhaps more, I remember when I started my first tour was with Tony Allen,
God bless his soul.
yes, may he rest in peace. And I remember I was still wet behind my ears. I was a background vocalist, and we toured. We toured some parts of Nigeria, Port Harcourt, I think Jos, Abuja, and then went to Ghana. I remember I was on the mass transit bus with them, and they were with he played with the Fela Egypt 80 band, and the bus was filled with marijuana smoke. I came back home. With phlegms, and for days I was ill because it was just a lot. But it was a good experience for me.
And touring as I don't want to use the word teenage, but as in your early days, touring and going through these different spaces, it sort of changes you.
Yeah, it does. It does. It does.
How has it changed you being on the road?
Yeah.
Doing all this like sharing your art with the public and connecting with a wide range of, how has it changed you?
It just makes you see the world differently. It also kind of makes you people perceive you as a worldly person. You are open. I always say the best education is travel. If anyone can get the opportunity to travel, even if it's within Nigeria, just get away from home and experience other things. So traveling for me, and I love the road. I am wanderlust, always wanted to be on the road. If I'm not in my house, where I also love solitude, I will give anything
it's really quiet,
travel.
yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. Is that something you've always, like, is that something you deliberately pursue? The quietness of the space?
Yes.
What does it do for you?
I don't know. It's just part of my DNA. It's just, I think the person I am, I kind of attract same kind of people. I'm perhaps the most quiet person in the house. Every other person is, gregarious and boisterous, but I like
rambunctious.
Yes, but I always find a corner, my corner, which is just quiet. I enjoy it. I don't know. It's been like that since I was a kid.
Have you ever been in a situation where you've not accessed the solitude? And did that play out well for you?
Yeah, I always find solitude even in a crowded place. I remember I was writing my dear in a restaurant outside the Nigerian embassy. Yeah, I just find a way to block everything and find solitude. I can be in a rowdy place and still find solitude,
But Lagos isn't a place for solitude.
Lagos is not a quiet place per se, so I don't function well. I don't drive in Lagos.
How about your bike?
I will ride.
Okay, you still ride your bike?
I still ride. I mean, well, I did try one day to ride. I went from here to Isolo.
Whoa. Whoa.
I didn't tell anybody. I
Just
I,
woke
I
up
would
and
never do
left.
it. Yeah, I just wanted to break the fear, and I saw Lagos, another dimension, and I was what?
So when you got to Solo, you made a U-turn and then you came back.
I managed to get to Isolo finally, even while driving really slow. I mean, my bike is up to 60 mf minutes. How do we call that thing?
MPHF.
Yes, and still I made sure I drove around 50, and there was another fellow Okada person who came next to me while driving on the Korodu expressway. Say, "Wow, you're such a gentleman. Look how you're driving so slow." If only he knew. He thought I was a man because I had on my helmet and I was driving so slow.
So at Solo, was there something you were looking for?
Actually, I mean, I usually go there to get. It's kind of like a post office there that I go to get some of my gears from.
Okay.
So I would get some packages and get it there. So I wanted to. Normally, they could drop it at home for me, but I wanted to just ride and break the fear. Because everyone said, don't ride in Lagos. It's very dangerous. I've ridden in Paris, even though it looks like a Mario Kart situation.
Yeah.
But Lagos, another dimension, Lagos, another dimension. I almost got crushed.
Whoa.
Yeah, there was a downfall guy. He didn't see me. And there was this traffic jam. It was, even for the bikes, it was locked. So I decided to go by by the pedestrian walk, but not on the pedestrian walk. Just I saw other Okada guys driving this small. I decided to follow, and God, I was almost thrown into the gutter. I had to bang on his before he saw me. I was like, shut. Hey.
But in those situations,
Yeah.
in those situations, do you ever think to yourself like, this is Asha? Like do you ever say, okay, I put myself in this situation deliberately because I want to experience something, or I'm on an adventure?
Yeah, I want to experience something. I also want to break the fear. I'm always liking to go the other way when everyone goes another way. And for me, it was to, I couldn't stand living in fear. Like, oh, don't ride in Lagos, it's dangerous. But I needed to see it myself. And honestly, I agree with them. I didn't want to take the third mainland bridge, but when I was coming, I had enough. I went on the third mainland bridge. It was, I was just happy that there was this third mainland bridge because it was too much. And since then, I haven't tried that long ride.
It's beautiful. Like I drive on the mainland,
Yeah.
and so I see what happens when I leave the island. I have to be different once I cross over.
Yeah.
And this is me in a car.
Yeah.
But to see that happen in a bike,
The bike.
that's way too exposed for me.
It's too much. Oh, no. Usually they say in the motorcycle school, ride on the left. So just the left of the driver's mirror. So they always look at that mirror most of the time so they can see you. But in Lagos, immediately I tried to be on the left. They just pushed me to the right.
Yes.
And, that's where all the buses stop. And I was, oh my God. But I quickly learned, when you stop at the traffic light, you have to be in front. So, no. And then I learned that people are just crazy. I was driving by this car just behind it, and it suddenly stopped. Didn't only stop, then opened its door. And you could see
Open the door.
Yeah, open the door. His
And
driver's
you were
door.
going.
I was almost slamming. Thank God. So in Lagos, you have to be like an owl, where you can turn your head 360 because everything is happening at the same time. So I just found myself screaming, putting my head like a fist.
But in any of these trips, though,
Yeah.
has there been a moment within your exploration of the city
Mm-hmm.
that you have had to lose your anonymity or your obscurity and become
Yeah.
Asha? Has there ever been a moment?
No, I'm anonymous. I'm like everybody now, which is good. There was a lady I was trying to move my bike from a parking lot, and the way she spoke to me, so rude. It's just like, what the fuck, mommy, what? You could tell the way she spoke to her driver or people who she considered beneath her.
Yeah.
And I could see humanity, why do we talk to each other? I wasn't going to hit her. She was just warning me not to come close. And the way she did it was so, you shouldn't treat another human being, that way. And I laughed because it was interesting. I was like, wow, look at people. If I take off my helmet, well, if she happens to know me, oh, Asha, that's a chance I'm taking. That's a risky chance. She might not still know me and say, who the hell are you?
Sure. Sure.
So, or tell me things like, oh, so you're a girl, go get married. Stop being on that bike, But I just felt like, oh man, we could be a little nicer to each other,
Yes. And Lagos does that. But then going through all of these places, chasing the art, pushing your music and sharing the gift that you've been given. How is it different when you return to this city? I know you've performed in the biggest venues ever. I know you spoke to me the last time we had a conversation. You spoke about the cathedral
Yeah.
and how that was such a very significant moment for you. And in that time, I've watched you perform thrice in Lagos.
Yeah.
What's different?
When I perform in Lagos?
Yes.
Lagos is home, Lagos is where they understand every song. You see, and in fact, because I've performed the song over and over, almost like 1,000 times, I have then created newer, nuances. I've kind of left the albums. They all know. Lagos will sing it for you, phrase by phrase, melody, line by line, and they even know where I take my breath. So
So you're the singer and people would make the process for you.
they know everything, even when I'm going on and forgetting that, I'll forget my line. I only need to rely on Lagosians. They know what's up, Lagos is home. I can't, how else can I explain? Lagos is family. Who knows you better than family, And Lagos is where families, you can't bullshit with family. In Lagos, you can't bullshit. They know you and they love you. And Lagos is just one of my favorite places to perform, So
There's this thing that hangs around you. Like when people, Asha, of course, it denotes excellence, artistic excellence. But there's a certain deference that comes with knowing that this is Asha. How do you navigate, especially within the city? You see it on social media too. You see it everywhere.
Yeah.
People react differently to Asha than a lot of other people. So, how do you navigate?
Well, I'm always very appreciative. Although, because I rarely go out. I rarely step out. And if I do, I always like to be anonymous because, again, even as I'm going out, I'm writing in my head. I'm collecting stories. But it's always sweet, It's always sweet when people, come up to me and tell me what my songs have done in their lives, to their families, and even when friends, who are from other countries meet with other Nigerians and they mention me, and my friends, oh man, they love you. Like it's always a good thing, It's always a good thing, really.
At this stage, do you ever get used to it?
Oh, you can't get used to it. You can't get used to
Why?
it. I mean,
It's dog deal all your life.
you know, you can get used to it because perhaps, like I told you, I'm not outside often.
Yeah.
And when I'm outside, I really do like to be anonymous. You know, I like to collect things. I like to hear conversations. I like to be like everybody. That way I can do my job well, you know? So I'm always surprised, you know, when someone walks up to me. I've even tried I tried one day, you know, I was walking a couple of times this happened to me. I was walking my dog in the morning and then, you know, usually
I walked your dog without the face mask. Just
I always wear a mask and no, I don't. I always wear a scarf
okay.
and
But that doesn't cover anything.
it doesn't. Thank God for the pandemic. We have masks now. Yeah, I was wearing I always wear my mask, and I think I have a piece of towel just to cover my nose because of the dust, and partly to hide my face.
Okay. I understand.
And then so I'm walking, you know. When I'm at home, I really just like to dress like a farmer. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not on stage, so I throw on all kinds of colors and all kinds of
Just get very confident.
frumpy, you know, very looking cover. And then someone says, Asha, oh my God. I'm like, no.
And now you have to deal with that.
You know, and sometimes I did try to dissuade the person. I just froze and looked dead at the person's eyes to make sure he was wrong. And he called me, Asha. And I kept looking. Asha, because I can't lie. I can say, what, sir, is not. And I just left and didn't say a word. And when I just felt bad about it. I'm like, what's wrong with you? Just say hello. But because I left my house that morning thinking, yeah, I'm good. I'm covered. No one's gonna. And then he calls me. He's like, how do I deal with this? You know, I was coming out from the gynecologist office in Paris and just stepped on the Rue Rivoli.
Yeah.
Really fresh from my meeting, and the next thing, Aja!
You haven't got a moment to catch your breath and understand. Okay.
I'm like, what? I just got examined by a gynecologist. I'm trying to go home to, you know, I'm still
To resent her.
I'm still in all that clinic feel, and then
Yes.
someone just calls me like, oh my God. You know, so it's always fresh, you know. I don't think I would ever get used to it.
Okay, cool. But within the city, though, the
Yeah.
love you get is the foundation of the love you get is due to your pursuit of excellence. People have made have made you a part of their lives. They consider the work you create very cardinal to their existence.
Mm.
And it is that same love that they continue to bestow upon you, even now when you're introducing them to a new path. That's beautiful.
It is. It is. I'm grateful.
You returned back home to Lagos. You stayed at home. What was, in terms of how you made the music, what did you set out, or rather, how did Lagos inspire you differently? Because I could think of all your other albums, and there's Lagos in them.
Yeah.
I think of all the projects, the 4 projects before this, and elements of the city. How did Lagos inspire you differently this time?
Well, you know, the connections that I made during this period, I wasn't thinking of doing an album because honestly, I didn't have an idea what to do next. But I knew that I didn't want to do an album that people will say, oh yeah, we're not surprised. It's not different from, you know, what we know Asha.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Asha. She never fails. She never disappoints. Those kind of things. I didn't want to play into anyone's expectation, but I didn't have an idea. So the next thing was to just meet people, meet creatives, and that was what I was doing. I met with World, which was an amazing experience. World's an amazing artist, whom I rate highly.
I think it's beautiful.
Yeah, he's awesome. And the hard worker as well. Prime as well. I think Prime came with Fireboy.
Okay.
And so Fireboy was one of the people I met just to, hello, get acquainted with, and let's chat and see what comes out of this meeting. And so Prime disappears. I didn't know he was just somebody who was in the background.
He disappeared.
He just goes. He's a producer. He came to do what
Engineering.
he came to do, and then I met with Yemi Alade. We did a couple of songs together, but just really just vibing and singing, and we kind of as we meet each other, we're singing, going into the studio and chatting, getting to know each other and making songs. Who else? A lot of people were coming through the stores. London, London. Yeah, he told me his story, how he started in 2018.
Yes.
And I say, man, and you producing all these wicked beats, and I also enjoyed talking with the producers because I'm also learning how to produce, and I always want to get tips from them and show them my beats. Even though my beats are whack, but
your beats are not whack. Interesting.
You haven't heard them.
Okay, I haven't. Well, I wouldn't expect your beats.
No, trust me, they're whack. But maybe, who knows? Maybe soon I'll start.
You should
charging
I
for
think
my
you
beats,
should.
man.
You should. If you create something and there's any sort of value within it, you should plug it around. Produced by Asha. Do you have a tagline?
Yeah, I'm still working. I'm still not Asha, definitely. I'm still playing around. Prime said maybe I should use Jamson, the Smokes, because he, Jamson production, something, I don't know. I'm still looking. I'm still searching. Because he knows I love singers, so he says, why not put Jamson, the Smokes, but we'll see. When I come, man, it's gonna be
So you had all of this conversation.
Yeah. So
what were you looking for?
Really just to connect. Like I said, I didn't think of an album because I didn't have an idea where to go. I wasn't also thinking of writing an album. I just wanted that messy. So it wasn't to record an album. It's just to because I didn't have the opportunity in the beginning for my first album to settle and meet people. So this were interesting people that came in, and finally Prime. I settled on Prime.
What was special about Prime?
His range.
Okay.
His range. He has a wide range, and he's a proper producer.
Okay.
He's a proper. It's not
about generating the beats and just.
It's not a beat. No. For me, I don't work like that. We have to be in the studio together, and working from scratch. And so with Prime, his range, his musical range is wide, and I thought this is an awesome guy, and he was ready to listen. He was also ready to learn. He wasn't afraid to take out things, because this session was a lot of, no, take that out, take that out, take your tag out. I don't want take the no, don't put that on my voice. It was a lot of that because um and he was also one of the guys who didn't come thinking an Asha production should be all ethereal and all spiritual and
So he didn't come pre-coded.
no, he didn't come to jazzify thinking I'm a jazz singer or soul. No, I wasn't going to take all of that. He just came with an open as a blank shit, and that was what stuck with me.
But you were also looking for something, though. Yeah, because
I think
when you define connection,
yeah,
say connection. Of course, you met a lot of people. Of course, you allowed the culture to flow through you
yeah.
and understand the very essence of it, and that's very represented in the project that you have released.
Mm.
What part of your connection with Prime said, this was my direction?
With Prime,
when did you know?
I think it was when there were songs. Okay, so I said if I was going to do Afrobeats, I was going to do a hybrid of Afrobeats. I think that was the only idea that I had. If I was going to do an Afrobeat, I was going to do a hybrid.
Yeah.
My own way, my own interpretation. And so we had done, I think, some sense of direction came with all the songs we had made. And that's how it's always been with my albums. I make a bunch of songs, and then they all start to make sense. Not all of it, but you start to see some form of structure.
Yeah.
And that was how it was with Prime.
Oh, nice. And then, was this the first time you've ever had to direct most of your creative work, especially for a project, through a singular producer?
Oh no, I always work with singular producer. I prefer it that way.
You worked with Cobhams.
With Cobhams, yes. I've always preferred it that way. On my first album, Asha,
Yeah.
I was signed to a French label, and I insisted that Cobhams came with me to France to record it because, again, that's a piece of home. And yes, it was co-produced by a French producer, but I always really like to make it either one, maximum two, but really I like to stick with one. For cohesion, it should. Let's just say Prime was the right guy for the job.
Okay.
He was rounded. Not to say the others weren't, but he was just, he fit the kind of producer I wanted to work with, and and that's it,
So, coming down to finding connection, finding Prime, on this going in directionally. I'm curious about you talk about intersection, you talk about a hybrid. And from what I understand about hybrids, they are pretty much intersections between two entities or two different understandings of the art. So, what was this hybrid for you?
Well, it's the hybrid is my world and whoever else's world I was working with, and in this case was Prime. It was world, well, Prime mainly. So Prime is coming from a school of he's done all the songs, he's produced all these amazing hit songs in the last 2 years. If you're coming into my world, we kind of need to meet somewhere and have, you know, and do something. So it's world and ashes coming together to do this music that you hear today.
So you guys started working together. What was the first record that was?
I can't remember. I can't remember.
Well, if you can
I
place a record for this
remember.
project that you
Yeah.
think came before all the others, which one would you say?
I think it was a song with Fireboy, but that is not a clear, a good description of our first, because the one with the Fireboy was still going towards Asha, what Asha will do, Asha's comfort zone, and I didn't want that. I didn't want that.
It feels like you were running away from Asha because you kept saying, yeah, because also this conversation, there's a certain way you refer to who you are, who you have been,
Yeah.
and direction that you are headed, or
Mhm.
you've done, or you've created in this. Like, why? I get the sense that you didn't want to be who you were. Why?
No, absolutely not.
Why?
It's not, no. It's not that I do not want to be who I am or who I was. I've always been who I am. I can't change it. And I think the listener will know. You see, I didn't, like I told you, a lot of people, when they think of Asha, they always think, oh, we should come with jazz, or we should come with something ethereal, or something, Ayadaba, another Ayadaba. And I don't like going back there. I want something challenging. I want something that will take me out of my comfort zone. You see, so when I'm composing, I try to stay away from what I have done, or something that sounds like what I have done. So that's what I mean. I didn't want another jailer, another fire in the mountain, and another thing that you've heard. I wanted something stimulating. I'm always because there's more to Asha. There's more than it's just that square CD of 10 songs from my first album, second, third, fourth. There's more, and like they say, the fountain of music will never run dry. My purpose in life is to keep searching for what God has put me on earth to do. And if they say we're only, as humans, using 5% of our ability, that's a little bit, So for me, I'm always searching for something that is stimulating, something that isn't what I am comfortable doing.
And going through this process of redefinition for this project, most especially,
Okay.
it pushed you in spaces that you've never been in.
It kind of, yeah. I mean, yes and no, because maybe I have never how do we call it, recorded or released. It pushed me in a place, or you get to hear another side of Asha, another layer of Asha. True. While doing this project with the 5 album, the challenges were, what do I say?
You just tell me what you felt.
What do I say? One thing I do not want to be is preachy, and another thing I do not want to be is corny.
Well, it's fine sometimes. Like corny is decent. I like corny.
I cringe. So but again, I was working with an 18-year-old, and Prime is someone who is very honest. He's a pure producer. He's 100% producer, and he's never afraid to tell me, what did you say there? He's never afraid to say, give this suggestion, never too much in your face.
Okay.
He was just suggest, never imposing. And like on Mayana, I was to allow myself say fish and banana took me.
That's some of the best parts of the record.
But literally, I thought, I'm on an island. What food do you find on an island? And you find fresh bananas and coconut and fish because of the sea. But to me, it was so commonplace.
Okay.
And even Mayana, what was Mayana? Because those were the first words that came when I was making the song, when I was writing the lyrics and the melody. And Mayana was Mayana. But this time around, I told myself, listen, this is when you do not over-edit, because I self-edit a lot.
That's how good, and that's how the best creative people get by.
I don't know if it's good.
He has it
Because you tend to over-sanitize the music, as opposed to just let it flow. And, it's not a book. We're not writing a book. So, and so with Prime, he's never afraid to suggest, never imposing, but even in pronunciations like, oh, did you say that? I said, yeah. Oh, and he will give a suggestion. So this guy is not just sitting at the desk making his production, he's listening to every word. And, he's like, okay, it's good. I love it. And when I said, Prime, I'm not very sure about putting fish and banana in a song. And then he told me,
this record.
yeah. He said, listen, fish and banana means something else to me. He's like, oh, for real? Okay. We'll put it.
So when this record, like this, it's so beautiful.
Tonight when the lights out,
It is.
Thank you.
let's go away.
So, when this record dropped, I'm a geek with music. I'm very,
Mhm.
what's inside?
Yeah.
That's how I am. I'm very excited with it.
Yeah.
And I broke it down and I was like, yes, we get to hear the parts of Asha that are Asha, that lyrical excellence. That lyrical excellence is still there. That unrivaled melody, it's still there. We get that enjoyment from it. But this was a different Asha. Why did you put that out first?
Oh, Mayana.
Yes.
I think Mayana stands on its own. It was just right to put it out first. Yeah.
Cool. Well, when did you finally get a sense that you were progressing in this journey, this particular part of your journey? When did you get a sense that, okay, I wanted to do this, there's proof of concept, and this can work?
Well, it's one thing. It's very hard to impress Janet. She's my manager.
Hello, Janet. She's waving.
When Janet comes in, and we don't always accept everything Janet says. Sometimes we say, listen, Janet, just step out of the studio. Let us. She comes in, and I'm sure Prime at some point have tried to pull out his hair. His hair. She says, no, take that out. Take. She's minimalist with music.
Yeah.
She says, take out all the time. And to recreate it is annoying because we're enjoying this, and she comes in the studio and is like, it's okay. My God,
It's took a lot.
you know. I mean,
But it's important you have that though.
it's good. It's good. So when she says 2 weeks later, after Mayana was written, and she comes back and says, "That song you guys wrote, can I listen again?" And she was dancing. She said, because she said she remembered it kept playing in her head, and you know, Prime and I just looked at ourselves and say, "Okay, great. You know, the queen has accepted. We're on the we're on the good. You know, we're on the part. You know, if she says she loves it, then we have Janet on our part. You know, because Janet usually she's the one who does my set list, and there's a reason for that. Because if you leave me to do my set list, I will put all the ones that I like, and perhaps nobody will like them.
Well, okay.
So you don't allow the artist choose, you know, except if you want to be neutral, and it's very hard to be neutral for me. I want to sing all the, you know, all the technical songs. I want to sing all that nobody will probably. When I sing it, people look at me like, okay. You know, so it's good to run the songs. And when, you know, Janet's coming and say, I like the song, we like it too. And she's happy about it. And it's, okay, yeah, let's do it. And then we knew that we had, you know, something going for us.
I like that. A very key part of this album, and even the way it was marketed, this concept of the definition of using the world to a part of your artistry that maybe has you know, reared its head in other productions, but it's never fully birthed a project. So people say this is your most Nigerian project.
Amazing.
This is your most Nigerian, and you recorded all of this at home.
Yeah.
You don't like leaving. You take homebody, the definition of homebody, to a different level. And this process, like before I go, I want to explore like the music on Five, but I'm just trying to get a sense of how it was created. So this process, creating Five, as a product, it's thematically, it's sonically different from what we have heard from you in the past. What did this teach you about yourself? And how was this process different from all the work you have done before?
I think what is different with Five again is it's Prime. You know, Asha has not changed. Asha is still the same. But you know, Prime is a wonder kid. You know, his range, and he can only get better. You know, also working with World as well for something beautiful. Working with Wizkid, Amare, Caveman, all of those people. You know, I think again, you know, this is my first collaboration. Again, that's new. So
You never collaborate.
no, I just never had the opportunity to collaborate.
Was it because you were too in your...
Oh, absolutely not. I must tell you that I actually enjoyed hearing other people's voices than mine. You know, I just, like I said, everything, I was always on the road. I was always touring. Everything was done so, you know, writing and then recording immediately, and then and going from one town to another. Just didn't give me the opportunity that coming home did, to settle, you know, coming home and staying as long as I did during the COVID. You know, I think it was blessing choosing to just come back home. I had no option. I had not that I didn't have an option. There was no, how do we call it? it had to be home. I couldn't imagine not being at home during the COVID.
Nice. So let's go into this collaboration. You have IDG tearing up the chart.
Yeah.
What was in IDG? And working with Wizkid. See, the first time, and this is a bit of a personal story. So the first time everyone ever said, it used to be a thing for trolls to mention Wizkid and Asha. Like, take for example, you think of Asha, and the first thing that comes to your mind is some deep, like ethereal lyrics about like maybe my heart is longing for yours, or you're longing for home or something.
Or Jayla.
Oh, Jayla, exactly. And on the other end, you hear yeah on the other side. How did you find common ground?
I've always, with Wizkid from day one, I always thought, here's my favorite. We'll argue with my friends, whatever. I don't care. This guy, I love his melodies. And there's something graceful about him.
Yeah.
You know, but what was more important to me was he's a melodist. He makes mad melodies, and I love that because that's what I do. Melody first, and then lyrics afterwards.
Next.
So I recognized that, you know, that this guy, he's awesome, you know.
And when you got what was IDG before, and how? Okay, the recording process. How did that go?
Very simple song. Very simple song. It said what it said. Live in the moment. Don't go where there's no love. You know, I remember you asked me, what is Caraib?
Yes, because it's different. Caraibo.
Caraibo. That's the way to.
Yeah. Yes.
I use that to describe the distance. How it's unnecessary to go so far, or to people who don't love you. You know. Stay where there's love.
Yes.
You will thrive more. And hearing Wizkid verse, it just speaks of who he is. You know, it says, this is who I am. You know, I live a life. I've seen many love. I know what's right and what's, you know, I know love. I know what's right, if it's real or not. So inspiring, you know.
It's one of my best records from it. It's so sincere. I love it when, apart from it being a duet or rather a collaboration, but I love it when people reach out to like the beauty of love. So much surrender. Like it's all it is, and you could feel the sincerity, and it just has this poignant effect on your heart. So the beauty of that record is it has that, but it still works when you want to escape. So, you know, we're very big on escapism over here. Well, you found that's the hybrid that you've been looking for.
Well, yeah. I mean, all of the song is a hybrid, you know. IDG, honestly, it was one of the simplest songs. It was, I don't go where no love. That was the first words that came out of my mouth for that song.
And then the record like Morning Man.
Morning Man.
Yes, Morning Man. That's a personal favorite. And that's why I'm asking about it. Yes, it is. I play Morning Man every day.
Oh.
Yeah, since the record came out, Morning Man has been my thing.
You know, Morning Man was the one song and the only song that I just never sat down and wrote. I would write the songs and
would never believe you if someone had told me this.
And think over and over, why am I writing this song? I push myself till I have a headache. Why are you writing the song? And with Morning Man was done in one sitting. You know, you could call it a freestyle.
For real?
And I didn't like the song.
but it doesn't feel that way, and it's such a jam.
Thank you. It's become one of my favorite too. I really like it. But well, Janet comes from her room or wherever she's coming from and says, I love the song.
Yeah.
You know, she loves the song, and Prime loves the song. I'm the only one who doesn't like the song, and I'm like, I'm not sure I should go back and write the song. And both of them said, no, you're not gonna go, because once you write it, you're gonna spoil the magic.
Sure.
You know, so yeah, and it's become one of my favorite songs.
How did you make peace with it, not writing it?
Or it's more of what I learned from that experience. It's again about not being, not to think too much, you know. Once about the song, not to be too perfectionist, not to be precious about the song. Does it convey the message? Yes. Do you communicate the feelings? It's a morning song. It's sensual. It's a simple song. And does it communicate? If yes, then go with it. You know. So I've chosen to write more songs without thinking too much.
And do you write for other people?
Well, that was what I was doing when with All I Ever Wanted. Yes, I do write for other people. I've written for other people, but with
I did the reading behind All I Ever Wanted. And
you did a what?
I did the reading. I read the literature behind it.
Okay.
Yeah, on my way down here.
Okay.
And it was created for another artist,
Yeah.
Marie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Called her and then you offered it to her.
Yeah.
And she said, let's do it together.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a Amare. It was one afternoon, and I heard the beat, and I immediately thought of Amare and said, "This is an Amare track. You know, she'll kill this one." And then I started to write, and thinking I would give it to her, and she can change it, the Yoruba part of it, of course, and do whatever she wanted, and you know, and then you know, got on phone with her, and she sent her immediately sent her verse. It was so like that, and you know, said we shall do it together, and I was like, yeah, that's awesome, because I love that song. I love that song.
It's a high point.
Yeah.
Very big high point. So knowing what you know, and you know, being a part of this, or rather making music repeatedly, come out, put your spirit, you think of something, you put your spirit into it and chase it, try to make it a thing. In what ways does that like affect the person? I've always wondered, like, what do people pay for artistry? What do they give up to be able to do this work that's world beat?
Well, I think first you must be crazy. Yeah.
Okay.
You know, because you're dedicating your life 100% to this. You know, anybody who's doing art right now, and as before, you are 100% crazy,
Yeah.
because this is a subjective field. It's not objective. It's not Apple products. It's not where everything is already cut and fit for you.
Yeah.
You just need to turn on the button and put in whatever information you want. People will like it, and people, or they won't like it.
Yes.
You see, so so for me, you give up a lot, you know, a lot, friendships, relationships, but this is what I love, you know. This is what I am passionate about, and I enjoy it. So, and it's, for me, it's a way of life. It's everything encompassed, everything in it. all with the core being music. Whatever that means, that is to say, whatever I choose to do, however I choose to live, in love, in relationship, in business, everything under music.
I love that. I love that. So there's always something you have to give up to be able to do the work that you're doing.
Yeah, you have to give up everything because how else would you be 100%, give your 100% your all in it? Yeah.
So beyond you looking at the market, the last time I spoke to you, we were about to begin our industry, African music, Nigerian pop music. It was about to go into we're about to access global hypervisibility and interconnectivity, aka Afrobeats to the world.
Mhm.
You worked in this industry when it didn't look like there were any pipelines connecting us to a wider market. And seeing this happen now for us, how is it for you?
Oh, I'm absolutely ecstatic. I'm happy because I remember when with my label in France, they didn't have a black personnel. You it's the few times I saw a black person in the company was perhaps at the reception. Rarely did I see any black person handle my catalog. So you see, with that, there's a lot of misunderstanding, misconception of how to sell an uh, African music. Even me, when I came in, they thought I was going to be in world music. I'm like, I'm not giving you guys world music. I'm giving you pop. And they were shocked, but they were never ready. So when I see this now and everyone changing, like traditional record labels changing, now looking to hire anyone who knows urban music, Afrobeat, it's amazing how, things have turned. I'm happy. And why I'm happy is because this happened organically without the help of the so-called gatekeepers.
Yeah.
This happened with, this artists in their bedrooms breaking all the rules, breaking the rules of engineering, breaking the rules of recording, how to properly record. You see people holding a condenser mic with their hands. It's taboo. Like,
Yes.
why do you hold a condenser?
But you don't care. The music comes out.
The music, the passion is the first thing. There's a lot to learn. And Africa has always been like that. We're not given the chance, the opportunity. We're always, kicked to the side. But we always rear our heads and come out, victorious. And I just like that, our artists are selling out O2s,
Yeah.
arenas. It's
That's all
awesome.
happening this evening.
Yeah,
Yes.
Davido.
Yes.
So it's just amazing. I'm happy.
Thank you. So we've done this for over an hour. So thank you
It's
so
been
much.
an hour already.
Yes. It's been over an hour. So I'm just, all of this has been a thing. The first time I listened to Asha, I think was I in early university? I was trying to wrap up secondary school. And now I'm still connecting with Asha with a certain newness. That's the word I can use, certain newness or novelty to the music that she's dropping right now. So there's no, you want the old Asha, you go listen to the old Asha.
Yeah.
It's very different.
Mhm.
I'm thinking, like, for you as a person,
Yeah.
what's in this for you? What's your North Star? Like,
For me, it's for me, I always said from the beginning, I'm on a journey. I can't be in a box. You can't put me in a box. you put me in a box, I find a window. And for me is to continually do what I love doing, and never limit myself to where people want to put me. First, I made the record.
Sure.
I made all these records you guys are enjoying.
Yeah.
So I can't do whatever I want to do. For me, I want to continue to do it and keep exploring and breaking boundaries. For me, when I started, it was almost a lonely world, and people don't know where to put you. So I don't fit into your, I don't fit.
Into your genre,
I
your
don't fit.
classification.
I
all
don't
those
fit
things.
at all. Maybe I might be the scapegoat, for other generations to come. And they're coming already. They're here, in fact. It's fine. So for me, it's to continue. I think one good thing I took from President Jonathan's wife was that phrase, continue. And I've always used that word, continue.
Continue.
Although she used continue.
Yeah.
Well, for me, it's to continually continue, and never, it's just never limit, myself. And also, those who are listening, young artists who are listening, who haven't had, who are still, wet behind the ears, wanting to go into the industry, just know that, listen, you can do what you want. Not because you started with this genre, then you must continue that way. No way. Steve Jobs didn't start out using Apple computers. He was some guy who was in search of spirituality, and Apple came to him as an opportunity for him, and then it became something big. So never limit yourself. Never think because you this is who you are, then you have to continue that way. Then you're not doing what God, brought you here to do.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. I had so much fun. Thank you so much.
you.
And I really love your album.
Thank you.
I really, really do. I'm writing something about it.
Okay.
I'm writing some weird.
It's not conventional, perhaps.
Unconventional.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the word.
Thank you, Joey.